Carson's Corner is a black LGBTQ-owned small business. They sell merchandise and apparel on pop culture franchises such as Dragon Ball, King of the Hill, Sailor Moon, and of course and most importantly, Power Rangers. If you're interested in getting their amazing merch, be sure to check them out at carsoncorner.com. Link will be down below.
Happy Saturday, everyone! How's everyone doing? Welcome to the UltraQuest podcast here on the Morphin Network. I'm Mike Time Rider Zero, your host, and with me is that blue dinosaur guy. How is my favorite blue dinosaur guy doing?
I've been doing quite well. I mean, can't really complain. I mean, like I said, I had a lot of fun at ALA last weekend, and now just kind of, who knows, yeah.
Returning back to the norm.
Yeah.
Yeah, back to the chain gang, as that one band would say. I forgot the name. Belinda something, probably. Forgot the name of the band. But like, no. It's a very catchy song, though. I feel embarrassed that I forgot it. But, you know, it's all good because, you know, we are in for a golden experience.
Mm-hmm.
Because this episode was made in heaven.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no. I was at a CD store earlier today. So, like, you know, and I just accidentally ended up grabbing, like, 3 CDs that are very blatant JoJo reference. Like, oh, look, we got Giorno and Bucciarati. That's perfect. And then you got, Enrico Pucci. It's like, oh my God, like, we could get like the clash that we always wanted to see. But to you, our lovely audience, we hope you had a wonderful week and an even more wonderful weekend so far. And thank you so much for coming by to the UltraQuest podcast, because today we are discussing episode 23 of Ultraman Blazar, Visitor 99. Yes, V99. We're finally getting to the presumable end game of the season.
I think it technically is kind of a penultimate in a way. Or almost, yeah.
Yeah, because we know there's definitely going to be 25 episodes for sure. Like, episode 24 just came out. And there will be an episode 25. We don't know. I haven't seen episode 24 yet. And obviously no one has seen 25 yet. So I am curious what's going to happen, because I feel like there's definitely some loose ends that need to be tied up. And I'm wondering, like, how much of those loose ends are going to be covered in the next 2 episodes after this one.
Yeah,
because, like, you know, what's going on with freaking terror dopant?
Yeah.
In case I haven't brought it up, yeah, like that old dude from episode 14 is actually the terror dopant from Kamen Rider W, like the main villain. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? Yeah.
It's like behaviorally, like he's more like a Namba from Kamen Rider Build, but nope, it's the actor who played Terror Dopant, or the head of the Sonozaki family. So, you know, either way, writhe in terror. Terror. Yeah, so like I think that is kind of an important thing to address on top of the the space kaiju that's showing up, because we have an oncoming third wave. But I will say this. I feel so elated to know that we are finally more or less caught up with the show.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, technically, we still have one more episode to catch up on, but the point is, it's like, that episode aired today. So, you know, as soon as we're done doing this review, we could just pop over to YouTube and watch the actual next episode dubbed in English. Which reminds me, next week they're going to do episode 25, which means that the following week is Anime Pasadena. So yeah, we could like totally geek out in front of Johnny about like Blazar, you know, if we were to.
Yeah, you could do that. Because I'm up in NorCal, so yeah.
And not having like look down on you in shades like it's like you haven't caught up on Blazar. I whatever happened to those 3 years we spent together? That mean nothing to you. I'm just kidding. You would not hold that against you. No, but I do need to catch up on Bleach though. But like I'm trying to rewatch it from the beginning, but I got sidetracked by One Piece, so there's that.
Oh, good.
Yeah, no, like I only have like 40 more episodes left in Dressrosa arc, so it's like, oh man, Trafalgar. I cried watching that episode. But no, this episode was kind of adorable for Ultraman. So let's get right into it. So this is actually a running thing that we've noticed in the last few episodes. Gento's been really exhausted.
Yeah.
Really exhausted. And he almost like dropped his Blazar stone. So I'm like, this would be a perfectly good opportunity for Teraraki to find out that Gento is Blazar.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I don't know if you've been caught up with Power Rangers Cosmic Fury, but the whole like reveal of like, oh no, Zato is dying every time he morphs. But we can't say anything about it. I feel like that secret would work better here than it would with Cosmic Fury, because like with Cosmic Fury, it's like, oh, you're like, why are you keeping this a secret? Don't you think your friend should know about this? But here it's like, I feel like here Teraraki found out that Gento is not only Ultraman but also possibly dying.
Mm-hmm.
I think not only would this add more to Teraraki's character, but also it would add to Gento's character.
It would.
Yeah. So like, what do you think is going on with
the Mike Tyson impersonation? He drops the stone and nobody's in the wiser.
Mm-hmm. You know, I will say this: watching the same thing happen in Cosmic Fury, I was like doing that Key and Peele thing where like he's like,
yeah.
And then when he shoots, it's like, oh, did you shoot me? Or maybe it's just a reflection that you shot. Come on, you're bleeding out. Oh, am I bleeding? Or is it just my reflection that's bleeding? But yeah, so we actually find some of that good old-fashioned Curtis Ritchie dynamic going on here, because we got some random dude who likes space science calculate the trajectory of an oncoming meteor. It's like, oh, look, it's the same trajectory as V99. Don't you guys want to know this stuff? It's like, oh yeah, that is the thing that. Can you do me a favor? Can you name it Curtis Ritchie?
No,
See, that's like, you know, there was like that episode of there was this one episode of Powerpuff Girls where they did a bunch of Beatles references, so much so that there was like a documentarian named Stuart Best, because it's a reference to Stuart Sutcliffe and Peter Best, who were former members of the Beatles. Yes, there were 6 members of the Beatles in total, not just 4. You're welcome, anyone who didn't know anything about the Beatles up till now. Okay. So like they combined their names into Stuart Best to create this Amash character. I'm doing the same thing here. I'm naming this guy Curtis Ritchie as a reference to Curtis and Richie from Power Rangers Season 2. That's a villain character that helps out, even though they have no business helping out. But you will also never see again, presumably. So,
yeah.
So yeah, can you name that asteroid Curtis Ritchie 99? You know, since I discovered it, please. What's weird is that like they don't even reference this until way later towards the end of the episode. Like, why are we not bring this up to the higher brass. But then again, high brass has a habit of making it worse.
That they do.
Yeah, it's like why are we criticizing Scarred all the time? Why can't we criticize the GGF instead? Like they're always interfering. Always. And they're always criticizing Scarred. Like, oh, it's like, what are you guys even doing? Guys, you made our squad for a reason. We know things that you do not know.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's like how much more of this can we take, really? I'm curious. In your experience with Ultraman, like, is this a regular thing where higher ups of the obligatory military organization criticize the main characters when they do, kaiju reaction stuff?
Can't really say. I mean, this is like the first series I'm watching all the way to the end too.
Really? Yeah, because like I said, I've only seen a few episodes of the original Ultraman. I have it on DVD, mind you. In fact, that DVD is right over there, right between Power Rangers the movie and Yu Yu Hakusho season 1. But yeah, no, I've only seen the first 3 episodes of Ginga, and to my knowledge, there was no military organization, at least in those first 3 episodes. All we have is a vinyl toy of Taro.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Taro's easy to remember because he's the one with the 2 horns.
That's true.
Yeah. Some Ultraman characters, you really because I'm not an Ultraman expert. I have to really use cues to help me remember which Ultraman is which. I imagine for a lot of people who are not Kamen Rider fans, it's like they all look bug-eyed, so they all look like the same bug person but with slight variations. So you need cues to help you remember, and some of them are tricky. I'm not gonna lie, but for Kamen Rider, the first 2 are the hardest. All you got to remember is silver gloves is 1, red gloves is 2. The one that looks like a Christmas tree is V3.
Yeah.
Rider Man is the one that looks like Batman because his face is exposed. X has a giant X on his face. Amazon looks like a lizard. He's the only one who doesn't look like a bug from the originals. Stronger is the only one that looks like a beetle from the originals, and he's got the Superman S. Remember, S stands for stronger, S stands for super, S stands for hope. I swear, Henry Cavill should play Shigeru Joe if they ever do an American adaptation of. I mean, technically they did with Saban's Masked Rider, but his name wasn't Strongman though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sky Rider, a little bit trickier because he looks more generic compared to some of the earlier ones or the later ones. Super One also kind of, but he's all silver and black. So imagine Iron Spider-Man. Z-Cross also looks pretty generic. So that one's also tough. Black is black. That's easy to remember. Black RX, even easier to remember because that's the one that became Masked Rider. Shin is easy to remember because he's the one that looks like an actual man hopper as opposed to a hopper man. Zeto and J are legit tricky to distinguish from one another. I'll give people that one. But then once you get to the Showa era, it gets a lot easier. Kuga looks like a beetle. Agito is a dragon. Ryuki, also a dragon, but red instead of gold. Fize looks like a lightsaber. Blade looks like a playing card. Hibiki is a demon. Kabuto is a beetle. Oh, look, more beetles. I would say he's the one that looks the most like a Beetleborg. And so on and so forth. But Ultraman's they look way more, especially Showa Ultraman. They look way more similar to each other than Kamen Riders look similar to each other. So I recognize the original Ultraman because that's the one I see the most of.
Yeah.
But
That is the most common one.
But like everything else from Showa, again, the only ones I know I can tell apart are Leo and Taro, and only because Leo has like that main thing going on, and Taro has a horn. That's all I remember. Let's see, Showa. It also gets easier, but also not, because Tiga, it's like, oh, he looks like what's it called? What was the name of that one dude? Jintrax. Yeah, he looks like Jintrax from Wild Force, with like that Zeo armor thing. And he's the first one to have like blue on his body. So like, oh, that's easy. That's easier to remember. But then you got Mabius, Nexus, Max, and like it gets confusing from there. But then it's like, once you get to like Orb, it's like, oh, he's got a ring around him. X has an X on him. Okay. Z has a Z on him. Okay. Okay, we're getting somewhere. R and B, one's red, the other's blue. Okay, we're getting somewhere. But yeah, Blazar, yeah, like he's symmetrical. That's how I distinguish him. But yeah, so that's how inexperienced we are with Ultraman. Like I need it's like that scene from The Office where it's like Baldy, your head is bald, you have no hair, your head is reflective like a mirror against M, your name is Mark. Yeah, my name is Mark. See, there you go. The system works. And then Jabba the Hutt, Pizza the Hut, fat guys like Pizza Tony. Yeah, I need to apologize to Tony. No, can't do it to his face.
Yeah.
Gotta love The Office. But yeah, a bunch of Beatles show up. Speaking of Beetleborgs, Beatles show up. And I was like, at first, I was like, oh yeah, it's just another Beetle. Okay, we know what to do. Just keep it away from a nuclear reactor like we always did. And you know, I'm not gonna lie though, this does feel a little full circle because this was a kaiju that Earth Garon first faced.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, let's see how much better Earth Garon got because like, you know, episode 18, episode 19, total G. Episode 21, still a G. Episode 22, you know, he got tag teamed, so I'll give him a pass. But let's see how this plays out. Yeah, it goes pretty well, all things considered, until we find out, oh snap, there's another one in America. Wait, there's another one in America? Yeah. Remember how the Showa Kamen Riders were training in Arizona to fight against the Crisis Empire? Yeah. Well, their home base is being destroyed by this kaiju. Okay, we have to, man. That's that base where the Kamen Riders were training to fight Crisis. It's an American national treasure. We must rescue it.
Yes.
So then Blazar flies over, and I'm like, oh, look at that. Like, I could make a flat earther joke at this point, but I'm not going to because there's just no point in doing so. But yeah, daytime, nighttime. Oh, look, the earth it's around, but like whatever. Yeah, so we're doing pretty bang up job. You know, we're fighting these kaiju. We're handling things until we find out, oh wait, hold on, there's more of them.
What's more?
But we realize that, hold on, their behavior is a little weird because they're not aiming their nuclear cannons towards Earth. They're facing away from it.
They're aiming in space.
Yeah. And what's weird is they're both aiming in the same general three-dimensional vector.
Yeah.
Super. Wait, what was that guy say again? Burtis Ditchy? No, Curtis Ritchie. Oh yeah, didn't he say something about something in that direction? Oh yeah, there's There's an asteroid heading towards Earth, and there's a kaiju on it. Oh yeah, I can't believe I forgot about that. Man, yeah, man. Maybe we should have listened to Curtis Ritchie a lot more. Like maybe we would have a better understanding of this whole situation if we just listened to him. This feels familiar, doesn't it? Yeah, like it's kind of like how like the upper brass doesn't listen to us.
Mm-hmm. It does sound familiar.
Yeah. So then they're like, Blazar, listen. Hey, Blazar, hey, Blazar, listen, look over here. What? Don't aim your arrow at that kaiju. Let it fire its cannon. It is a gun. Don't you mean it is not a gun? No, it absolutely is one, but you have to let it fire. Okay. And a bunch of missiles are about to attack these kaiju. So, yeah, let's piss off the GGF a little more. Yeah, so let's piss off the GGF a little more by actually firing our cannon right here. Yeah. So, I mean, this seems pretty cool. And also, again, referencing to a certain group of people on Facebook, look at that. It's daytime in one place and nighttime in the other place. It's like we're playing Pokemon Gen 7, aren't we? But yeah, they destroy the missiles, which means the kaiju can fire the rail guns. It's like watching the Death Star in reverse, and I live for this. I love this. And of course, the asteroid gets destroyed, but their attacks basically deflect back at them. So there is a chance that Blazar might not have survived this, which gives us reason to show concern. And yes, the kaiju does on the asteroid ends up landing on the moon, which means time to bust out the Mod 4.
Yep.
The biggest mistake that Fast and Furious made was not calling the fourth movie Fast and Furious Fourth Gear.
That was a big mistake.
Yeah, because how do you tell the Fast and the Furious apart from Fast and Furious?
Mm-hmm.
It's like Rambo, where it's like the first movie is called Rambo First Blood, the second movie is called Rambo First Blood Part 2, the third one Rambo 3. So it's like, wait, what happened to Rambo 2?
Yeah.
And then the fourth one's just called Rambo, which means it's like, so if you want to say you want to watch Rambo, you're not talking about the first one, you're talking about the fourth one.
Yep. And then the first one was Last Blood, so that's easy to remember.
Yeah, and that makes the last one's called Last Blood. So yeah. First Blood. The first movie is called First Blood. Second's called First Blood Part 2. Third is Rambo 3. Fourth is just Rambo, and then the fifth one is Rambo Last Blood.
Mm-hmm.
So if you say, "Hey, let's watch Rambo," people would not be in the wrong if they assumed you're talking about the fourth movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Unless you explicitly say, "Hey, let's watch Rambo 1." But yeah, Fast and Furious Fourth Gear. That's what it should be called. Also, while we're at renaming movies, let's switch the names of the two Schumacher movies. The third one should be called Batman and Robin, because that's when they introduced Robin to the series. And the fourth one should be called Batman Forever, because one, you got the 4 part, because like back in the 90s, everyone loved to spell the word forever with number 4 EVER.
Mm-hmm.
But also it's like, oh, Batman's being broken up, the Bat family's being broken up by Freeze and Ivy's like, nope, we will not fade away into the night, because we are vengeance, we are justice, we are the night, we are Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Marketing. Marketing. But yeah, no, it's but yeah, Mod 4. Can't wait to see it in the next episode, which aired today. So we're gonna watch that after we finish this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless well, actually, I'm gonna be watching it while I'm listening to Sticky Fingers. So
There you go.
I am disappointed that Jumping Jack Flash is not part of a studio album. It is a straight up single, which makes me kind of sad.
That's weird. Yeah.
Yeah, because I hate having to just pump a single into my phone. I'd rather just if it's in a studio album, let it play in a studio album. But goddamn, that is the best Rolling Stones song ever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's all right now. Okay, but yeah. So, what are your? Did you get to watch episode 24 yet? Or
No, I haven't watched it yet.
Good, because my question is, what do you think is going to happen in the next 2 episodes?
It said the next episode's a special recap, so.
Well, skipping the recap.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, no, there were 2 recap specials.
Uh-huh.
Which, don't get me wrong, made it easier for us to catch up. But I'm just saying, if you thought Ninja Turtles had issues with recap episodes.
But yeah, so overall, I think we're gonna see the big finale. We're gonna see the battle with the big kaiju because we saw him wake up at the end. So hopefully we'll get some closure. But I think they're gonna leave some answers because that movie coming out that they showed the advertisement for.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can't wait for that movie to finally come out, legally to the United States so that we could actually do an episode on that because this isn't an archive if you don't include everything, which, by the way, guys, in case you're wondering, yes, next week we will be doing Kamen Rider Build, the movie, Be the One. But first, this week we're going to be doing episodes 35 through 40, but we'll get to that when we do our housekeeping. Yeah. Well, obviously, since there's going to be 25 episodes, and that's assuming that regardless if there's any assumption of a season 2, I'm pretty sure that episode 24 is going to end on a cliffhanger. They're going to fight the kaiju on the moon. Blazar will probably get knocked out. And then he's going to have to use some kind of convoluted shonen power to defeat that kaiju. But there's still a lot of stuff on Earth that is still unanswered. First of all, is this how it really going to come to an end? We're just a generic 3-part episode. I mean, don't get me wrong. We haven't done a 3-parter yet in this season. But is that really our final baddie this season? Just a seemingly random kaiju, even if it's a stronger kaiju compared to all the previous ones we've seen. It's because usually you'd think the big bad would be a culmination of everything in the past season. Like in Sentai, there's always that main villain. There's always that main villain where they were the ones that were making all the monsters of the day show up systematically.
Yeah. That's true.
In Kamen Rider, there's always an evil organization to fight. Whether it's Delza, Shocker, Gorgum, Grongi, Orphanox. I mean, technically, Orphanox aren't just humans, but they're a smart brain are the ones in charge of all the Orphanox. Yeah, so it does feel a little anticlimactic if it's just going to be some generic kaiju as the final villain. And again, what is the GGF, the involvement with these baddies? Because I'm under the impression that the real villains have to be the GGF, or at least the terror dopant dude.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is his involvement? I feel like there's a lot of stuff that needs to be resolved with him. Like maybe like when they did that first experiment back in 1999, they what's it called like he witnessed something and like, oh, maybe he found ultimate power or a secret to eternal youth or something like that. So he's like somehow made contact with this final kaiju to like send kaiju to Earth in some convoluted way to harness their power. I don't know. Like, I know I'm just like talking out of my butt to figure out how we could tie in these two things and try to wrap it up in 25 episodes. But again, you have 2 episodes left to wrap it up.
That is true.
Yeah, so it's like, and again, it's like in episode 1, you had that old dude saying, "Hey, it's an Ultraman. I heard that these things are like space angels that fight evil throughout the galaxy." It's like, okay, how does only that one dude know what an Ultraman is prior to the start of the series? And why is it still not treated with this kind of mythology? Like, where are all the other Ultramen?
That's what I want to know, yeah.
So, like, I feel like there's so much we need to answer in just 2 episodes. And here's hoping we do. Otherwise, like, we have to hope for, like, another 13 to 25 episodes to be released later on. But I very much doubt it because, again, track record, the last, let's say, 7 seasons, maybe even 13 seasons, have all been 25 episodes, give or take. Yeah, so it's like, so I'm very much doubtful that they're going back to a 50-episode format. But here's hoping. So what's your score for this episode?
Overall, I'd say this is a solid 10 out of 10. I mean, it had a pretty good twist as to why the kaiju were acting like the way they were, and it sets up pretty well for like the coming conclusion.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's a pretty good episode, and it's cool seeing like how like, oh, these kaiju have all these personalities, and we humans are not truly understanding their nature or like what their motivations are, and there's like so much that we can learn from that experience. Like, for example, like I remember watching this one anime film. I don't know if there was a TV series that it's based on, but there was an anime film I saw on Sci-Fi one time called X.
Yeah.
Where like you basically have these 2 best friends, and like one of them is the reincarnation of an Earth dragon, the other is the reincarnation of a Heaven dragon. Like one of them needs to destroy humanity in the name of nature. The other wants to preserve humanity. And so like even though they were best friends, they had to fight each other, and there's people on both sides, like a computer centipede thing or something like that. I don't know. It was like 2012 when I first saw it, and the movie itself was probably even older than that. But it almost seems like this sort of like a reversal of that, where it's like you have Earth kaiju versus Heaven kaiju. Well, more accurately, space kaiju, but like we're using the whole heaven and earth terminology thing. And like the Earth kaiju are trying to protect the planet from the space kaiju, but like Ultraman is unknowingly destroying them indiscriminately, which makes it harder for the Earth kaiju to protect Earth from the space kaiju. I don't know. Like, I mean, I don't know if that's going to be an actual thing that's going to happen in this series, but here's
we'll see.
Speculate and stuff. But let's hope that the writing on the walls and on the scripts will be as good, if not better, than the spitballs we are shooting from our podcast. Okay, let us know what you guys think of the episode. Did you like it? Did you hate it? What do you think is going to happen next? If you already saw episode 24, please don't spoil it. We're going to discuss it on Tuesday. Let us know what you guys think. Nematrix92 says, awesome, you guys are finally caught up. Yeah. Well, technically, like we still have episode 24 to do, but on Tuesday we'll be affirmatively caught up. Affirmatively caught up. Okay. Love you guys covering Ultraman so far. Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you. I mean, it's much appreciated.
I'm so hyped we're getting to the end game. Yeah, we are getting to the end game. I just hope that like it doesn't fizzle out like Game of Thrones did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we don't want that.
Yeah, no. Do you think there will be a season 2? I mean, given how much stuff is left to go over, it looks like they may need a season 2, or maybe
I'm not
just
going at all in the movie, but yeah.
Yeah, or maybe they're just gonna bleed over into the next Ultraman series, like how like Dyna takes place 7 years after Tiga. And yes, even though I haven't watched Dyna or Tiga, like I still know just enough to know that Dyna takes place 7 years after Tiga. They still have guts, or super guts, as I think the organization is called at that point. Yeah. So hopefully, if things are not wrapped up, they will finish wrapping up in the next Ultraman series. But yeah, I generally like things at least a little self-contained, not necessarily completely self-contained, but self-contained enough.
Yeah.
Like the most bleed over I appreciate is involving Power Rangers SPD, where in Dino Thunder they had like a 5-minute special where Kira and Ethan discover like a thing that shows them events that happen in SPD.
Yep.
Yeah, and then in Mystic Force they show Piggy from 20 years before the actual events of SPD, where it's like, oh yeah, no, I'm an alien, and in 20 years, other aliens are gonna live on Earth, and there's gonna be a huge invasion. Now, leave me alone, you stupid cat, and let me enjoy my rotten eggs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I would have loved to see more of an SPD versus Mystic Force crossover, but hey, at least we got that continuity. We're setting up events for SPD.
True.
Yeah. Oh, which reminds me, next year, SPD is gonna be a thing. Next year, SPD will be real time. It seems that Professor from episode 7 and 8 had a point saying humanity doesn't understand kaiju. I mean, you're not wrong. I think there's a certain arrogance to humans where we have so much sapience that we understand things that other animals don't. But then there's this lack of humility where we believe that we know things when we actually don't. But the thing is, if you want to use your sapience correctly, you must always walk into anything with the understanding that you truly do not know everything.
Well, that's true. Yeah, you gotta go into it with an open mind.
Yeah, because the thing is keep in mind what is our defining characteristic as a species? It's being sapient, our ability to learn and reflect, to improvise and all that stuff. You know, if you want to go like really deep into it, like we're gonna have to like do a review of a very specific episode of Transformers, which I'm gonna go into, and I think you know which specific episode of Transformers of which specific season I'm talking about. It's the one that made a lot of 90s kids cry. That's the only hint I'm going to give. But the thing is, in order to make the most of your sapience, you have to use critical thinking. But to think critically, you have to use 9 characteristics. And one of the biggest issues with humans nowadays is that some people don't use all 9 of those characteristics. I've talked about some of them here or there, but the specific one I'm addressing here is humility, because all the information in the universe can be categorized into 3 groups: things that we know, things that we know that we don't know, and things that we don't know that we don't know. And humility is understanding that there's that third category. There are things that we don't know that we don't know. Like, you'll always have to walk into a conversation knowing that that the more you learn anything, the more it is revealed that there are exponentially more things that we do not know.
Yeah.
But that just makes things more beautiful to me, and sad, and happy, all at the same time. I don't know. Science makes me cry tears of awe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, gotta give credit to Ganular. Since the one from episode 3 and this were like animals, they detected a threat faster than anyone else and reacted to protect their territory. He will be missed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, like a lot of animals are like that. There was even an episode of there was a Pokemon movie that was kind of like that where like, oh, like there's like this natural disaster occurring. I can't remember if it was Mewtwo or Lugia, but in one of those first two movies, it's like every Pokemon tried to fly, swim, or crawl as close as they can to whatever crisis was occurring in that movie, because we need to like, because most animals are so naturally in tune to certain disasters, and we humans sort of like walked away from our ability to detect those things because we have over relied on technology to do it for us. Don't get me wrong, it's not a lack of gratitude for the technological advances, but it's like, think of it this way. Everyone should know how to parallel park. Is it helpful that we have technology to help us parallel park? Yes, but it should not take away from our need to practice the ability to parallel park, because should anything happen to that park assist technology and we don't have the ability to parallel park, we are screwed if we need to parallel park. So like my takeaway is keep owning the ability to use a skill, even if you don't need to explicitly use that skill now, because when you finally do need that skill, you will be prepared to use it when needed.
Yeah.
Or more simply, it's better to have it not needed than to need it and not have it.
Yeah.
Okay, it's interesting to see that being a host to an Ultraman has a downside, and how Gento overcomes it is up to him. I mean, yeah. I think in general he just needs to sleep more, because, and honestly, as a host of a podcast that has like 4 or 5 shows on that podcast, yeah, it's like time management is a tricky thing, and like if you don't balance rest with work, you're gonna get burnt out very fast. If you don't, like, yeah. Nice to see Retsuo back, even though he will be punished again. It's hard to cheer for the GGF since they were using thermobaric missiles, which may cause a lot of collateral damage to kill a kaiju. Yeah, you're not wrong. I think, like, in general, like, the GGF has been dropping a lot of balls throughout the series. And again, this goes back to what I was saying earlier in some of the past episodes. Like, you created this whole detachment so that they could use their kaiju-related expertise to figure out the best way to react to kaiju in the most efficient way possible. But you're constantly getting in their way, and you criticize them when they succeed in their job.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, at that point, what is even the point of having a detachment?
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, Scar has a better track record than GGF does, but kind of hard to have a good track record in the first place when there is that much interference. I mean, imagine. Like, whether you like or hate Power Rangers Cosmic Fury, imagine how much better the season would have been if they were allowed to have 20 episodes, like not Bandai, like Hasbro approved, as opposed to 10 episodes, which Netflix restricted them to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so, interference can cause problems. Sometimes you gotta let a show breathe and have its time. You shouldn't. I mean, I would not compare Japanese live action anime adaptations to American live action anime adaptations, but given how much good we got out of 8 episodes of One Piece versus how much we were able to get out of 5 episodes of Yu Yu Hakusho. And again, like, I know Netflix is mainly distributor, but also, would you think that however good or bad the live action Yu Yu Hakusho was, do you think it might have been better if they had 8 episodes instead of 5? Or better yet, 10 episodes. But even with 8, as opposed to 5.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, those those are just some things to think about. I'm not a fan of administrative interference when it comes to letting professionals do what they're good. Because sometimes sometimes you need to take the risks of doing something that you would that the higher ups might not typically approve of. But the thing is, they would just simply allow that risk. We might have better outcomes sometimes. Yeah. I mean, if there were specific lines that were being crossed, okay, we can address those lines ahead of time. But interfering ahead of time, you're really restricting how much you could get away with. Imagine trying to make a cake where you're not allowed to use any kind of flour. And I don't mean just regular flour. I mean even using almond powder as a base. And you're not allowed to use eggs. You're not allowed to use milk. And you're not allowed to use any sweeteners of any kind, even if it's erythritol, monk fruit, or stevia. It's if you substitute 1 or 2 of those 4 major ingredients, okay, you can still make a good cake.
Mm-hmm.
But if you restrict the use of all 4 ingredients and their substitutes, how much of a good cake can you really make?
Yeah.
Well, that's it for our comments section. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to comment, like, and subscribe to us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Ding the bell icon to stay notified for our latest videos. Sunday this week, we are covering episodes 25 through 40 on Kamen Rider Build. Mm-hmm. We're doing it a little bit earlier because we do have a group thing we need to do specifically this week. It's unavoidable, but we're still going to try to give you guys the content you guys want and need. And next week, regularly scheduled program. Monday, we're finishing up on Ultraman Blazar. Well, we're catching up. We still have episode 25 to deal with the following week. Monday, Ultraman Blazar. Wednesday and Thursday, Gotchard and King Oger, respectively. We don't really have anything going on Saturday then, since we're fully caught up on Ultraman now. The following Sunday, we're going to be doing Kamen Rider Build the movie Be the One. So we got a regular week's worth of content. We got 4 videos just for you guys. 4 videos. And that's pretty much it. Now, check out our sister channel, The Buttery Show, where we do video game news. We did doing the Crow month. We did the original 1994 Crow movie last week. This Sunday, 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 Eastern, we are doing A Crow City of Angels, which is a sequel, more or less a sequel to the first one, featuring a new main protagonist, and it's the final acting performance of the late Tweet Train. So if you're a Power Rangers fan, definitely might want to check that out. And lastly, if you want to check out our personal content, where can the ladies and gentlemen and viewers of the world find you?
You can find me over on Instagram at that blue dinosaur guy.
And you could find me on Instagram at Boken_Kabuto and on Twitch at twitch.tv/BokenKabuto. Also, one last thing. We will be coming to Pasadena Comic-Con on the 28th at the Pasadena Convention Center. So if you want to say hi to us, feel free to do so. We're happy to meet you guys, our beloved fans. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the announcements. So that said, guys, stay safe, stay hydrated, update emergency kits, hug your loved ones. And before we close up, any last dead jokes you want to say to close out the weekend?
Would horror stories involving Bitcoin be known as Tales from the Crypto?
Hai, arutuja, naito. Bye, everyone.
Yes.